Could you just introduce yourself?
My name is Lori Carnes, and I was recently hired at Western in the Environmental Science Department. This is a 400 level hydrology class, and this is my first class at University of Montana Western. For environmental sciences, we do a lot of field work, and I saw what it looked like in a classroom setting where you'd have 50 minutes 3 times a week, and you can't do this. And so I really got attracted to the University of Montana Western block model because it opens up partnerships with, for example, we're out with the Sagebrush Partnership today doing a hands-on stream restoration project. Last week we were able to go up to Morrison Lake and do a research project with one of the other faculty and collect groundwater samples. And the week before we were actually in Yellowstone looking at the 2022 flood damage. So we were able to do these overnight trips, these kind of longer term projects, and students are able to then learn from textbooks and readings independently on their own, and then come to class where we actually apply it. And I think this model actually feeds into hands-on experience as well as just learning the material at a deeper level.
My name's Nolan Salix, and I work with the Youth Employment Program. I'm the program manager for Dillon, Montana. I've been doing this since 2021. I've worked for 4 years, 4 seasons, and we're here at Little Sage Creek.
So in terms of like, what do you like about hydrology, I guess? Like, is there certain aspects that draw you to it more than others, or is it kind of just part of the job for your...
I mean, we're water, right? We're walking bags of water. So, and we're in a landscape that is pretty arid. So the complexity and wilderness or diversity in our landscape is keyed in on water.
Yeah.
So this tends to be the limiting factor in our ecosystems, or one of the major contributing limiting factors. And what we've found is some of the policies that before we knew better, in the last 200 years, we've made a lot of policies and programs and systems that really degrade the hydrological cycle. And that's what we're in here doing today, is we're trying to nudge it back in a positive direction, because with climate change happening, and even in just the existing landscape, the water's is flushing through the system so much quicker, and all the plant response to that, these systems that used to have this wet, spongy mass to hold all this water are now becoming incised banks, and that water table's dropping way down, and we're just getting upland vegetation right at the riverbanks. So we don't have a wetland complex anymore.
Showed up.
You just showed up? You've been working here the entire time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to just give like a basic could you just give a basic outline of the hydrology class as a whole? Kind of what you've been doing.
So we've been doing like a lot of field work. I'm pretty sure as of yesterday we were out 11 out of the 18 days of the block. I guess this would make 12, but like the second week of the class we toured Yellowstone and looked at all the hydrological things around the park, like the geysers, the rivers, and the other wetlands and like that. And then oh man, we were over at Morrison Lake like last week, and we were just doing all types of like research in the field.
Do you have a favorite part about the class? Like, is the field work probably like you get more enjoyment out of that, or do you like just sitting and crunching numbers more?
Honestly, the field work is like the best part about any of these classes, especially this one, because like when you're out in the field, you actually get to learn things like firsthand and get some real experience. And this is stuff like you can put on like a resume and like that, which is really cool. And
that's a big draw for the class, is you get one, that field experience, but two, you're filling out a credit for a class.
Oh yeah.
You're in hydrology, right?
Yep.
So you want to just walk me through what your day-to-day looks like?
So day to day, either we're in class learning stuff throughout the books, taking a quiz about basic hydrology. But the more exciting stuff is our field days. So we've been on multiple field trips. Starting out, we measured CFS or discharge throughout the whole Beaverhead River, and compared the historical flows throughout Twin and all the other USGS hydrological measuring sites along the Beaverhead. We've done a trip through Yellowstone, looking at all the hydrothermal features, just the big, massive watershed that is Yellowstone, and how that's affecting things, how the geology influences that, how we're creating our lakes and all that, and kind of the other playing factors that shape our hydrology, and therefore the hydrology shapes bed. And then finally, we went up to Morrison Lake, measuring different groundwaters, lake samples, and that is following research from Professor Spruce Schooneman, who's doing isotopic lake bed samples. So they're taking that and trying to reconstruct paleo climate with use of isotopes from oxygen and carbonite that settles into the lake.
Important part of this class in terms of its impacts outside of the classroom are?
I would say taking the impacts of water, like we can do all the measuring we want to, and all the research to figure out what is right out there right now. But the most important part is probably just looking into the future and how important water is for absolutely everything. And learning what we're learning now is going to shape how we can change the future to protect.
That has just outside of the class itself.
Really, it's just like how like water like shapes like the landscape, and like how big like, because hydrology is like a huge part of like even like life out here in Montana and stuff, because it just like shapes the landscape a lot.
I think it's important for anyone to take a hydrology class because we are all dependent on water. And the reason we have life on this planet, the reason we live here, is because of water and the specific properties of water. So we started off this class by actually doing a group presentation where we had one group look at surface water in Beaverhead County, groundwater resources, things like evaporation. And so we had people tackling all parts of the water cycle in our place-based location. And so it gave us an idea of like what our local water resources are. And so we're all stakeholders in our water. So having an understanding where these measurements come from, what some of the errors like with that data that gets reported is coming from, and just making people care about it is going to be the path into the future, so we can figure out how to manage it a little bit better so it's more sustainable for future generations.